Welcome back to Season 2 of Humans of Tech. Today I'll be speaking with Kaveh Khorram, founder of Usage.ai. He's also notable for hosting the first ever hackathon in the Space Needle, which I can say from first-hand experience was a great event. Enjoy. So what's the story behind how you started Usage?
Yeah. I'd say, generally, I've worked at a lot of technology companies, from very, very large companies to very small companies and really everything in between. And, you know, generally, you know, generally one of the biggest line items in terms of vendor expenses for a team is AWS. AWS is incredibly expensive. And it's it's expensive, and a lot of companies think, okay, well, it is how it is, we have to pay this much. There's no cheaper option. And you know I realize that that's actually false. If you look at AWS EC2s have over 70,000 different price points. And it's it's possible for a company to find savings, but the way AWS has designed its dashboard, it's incredibly difficult. Like, you need to be AWS certified to even figure out how to find some of these savings. So really what we did is, we decided, okay, let's build something incredibly easy to use, and a self-service app where really anyone can register for an account, connect us to AWS, and then our model goes in and finds all of these savings for you and automatically applies them if you confirm them. Really, the way I like to explain this opportunity to people, and generally the space itself, is, if you look at the United States prior to the 1880s, you didn't have any high rises. You had, or really any multi-story buildings. You generally had one or maybe two-story buildings that would cover a lot of land area, and not support a lot of people. And I think when the 1880s rolled around, you started seeing you started seeing multi-level high rises, at the time, so to speak, come up, and those were incredibly efficient, and they reduced costs because now you could have a building that could support a lot more people covering a lot less land. And I see usage as that kind of modern day equivalent, where what we're doing is, right now, in the cloud space, is growing by 35% year over year, by the way. In the cloud space, um, what we're seeing is, you have a lot of companies who are using just a lot of server space. So you can think of it as, they're just fine, they just have all these buildings that are just one story covering a lot of area. And I think what we're doing is, we're kind of building those high rises and those skyscrapers, right? We're making it so that, instead of a company overspending on kind of a ton of land, we're basically minimizing the amount of land they need, and then just making it taller so that they can build buildings that can support a lot of people while massively reducing cost. Um, so that's how I can view the space, and our opportunity in the space. And I think it's incredibly important. I mean, could you imagine New York without any high rises, right? Or multi-story buildings? It would be 100 times more expensive to live here. But like, I kind of see us as, especially as the cloud continues to grow as quickly as it is. I think that we really have a good shot here at really making an impact on the cloud market and building these skyscrapers and high rises, so to speak, um, and really just reducing costs for a lot of companies.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy, the high-rise one. So I think, did you start this as a personal project, or you just start from the vision and say, I need to get a team around this?
Yeah, I started it as well. I pretty much I decided to kind of leave from the job I had as a software engineer, and decided, after some time, I thought, okay, like this is going to work out. This is exactly the space we want to be in. Um, and this is exactly the space we want to be in, and um, it's a very lucrative space, and there's this the space is really ripe for disruption. Um, and I just decided to leave. And obviously, as someone who studied computer science with a CS degree, so with over a year of software engineering experience, it's I have a pretty big safety net, so it's not a huge risk. But I just thought, why not give it a shot? And I'm really glad I did. It's been about 2 months I've been working on Usage.ai full time with a team of people, and um, it's we're growing incredibly fast, and we have a really incredible product, and our customers love us. We have very, very high ratings with our customers. So yeah, things are going incredibly well. And I'm really glad I made the switch.
For sure. So in terms of finding your current team, I think you mentioned earlier about hackathons. What else do you use?
Um, I generally, sometimes I'll just go on LinkedIn and I'll see a post by someone, and they'll say, hey, like, this person looks, sound like, if someone writes an article that I find pretty interesting, I'll maybe reach out to them. Or if someone has like a kind of a GitHub repo that's been gaining traction, and I find it very interesting, and they write really, really nice code, then I might reach out and say, hey, by the way, like, let's get the conversation started. Um, yeah, it's just generally it's finding really great people, and then kind of getting them on board to usage, and selling them on the idea and the vision. Um, and really, I think that once we tell them what we're doing, and once I tell them that, look, at the end of the day, we're taking money back from AWS, and we're giving it back to companies and startups. I think that's really, really powerful, especially in especially in the current economy, where you have companies, where you have really a lot of companies who really need to save, who are really in pain and need to save money. um, we're basically going to those companies and saying, hey, by the way, we can reduce your AWS bill so that you can reinvest that. Instead of paying AWS a huge chunk of money, you can reinvest that money back into your business, and into building things that your customers really care about. And I think that's very powerful for both the people I talk to about usage, and even the customers that we interact with, and the companies that we interact with. So I think we're doing something really special, and we are really, at the end of the day, we're helping companies save money, and a lot of money. And in some cases, we're actually, potentially with the money we help companies save, we could be saving jobs, which, especially now with unemployment as high as it is. I think that's really, really powerful and impactful, and that's a mission that I think I can get behind, and I think it's a mission that a lot of other people can get behind.
No, it definitely is a very powerful vision. Do you guys plan on expanding not just from AWS but to other cloud services?
Right now we're focused on AWS, but there definitely is a plan to expand to other clouds at some point in the future. We already have so many engineering things that we need to do on AWS, and there's so many ways we can help companies save money, and we're really hyper focused on AWS. And AWS, in terms of market share, their market share is greater than Azure and GCP combined. So there's definitely enough space for us there to kind of keep going, and really, hopefully, ideally, dominate the AWS optimization space before we expand into other spaces.
Definitely. Yeah, it's interesting that you guys are starting small. I think it's good that you guys are hyper focused. In terms of customers, what are some things you do to really, like at Amazon, they have a principle called work backwards from the customers. Do you guys use something similar, or how do you guys approach building strong customer relationships?
Yeah, great question, by the way. I'd say really what we do is, we put our customers over everything else. And we don't care about what our competitors are doing. And I really don't. We talk to our customers, and we tell them, how are you liking our service? Sometimes we'll give them a call. Sometimes I'll really just text them, if they want to be texted, and they'll say, hey, how's it going? Anything we can help with? And I think what's really important is, just listen to your customers, and just listen to what they want. And really, treat your customer as treat your customers as really the most important people in the business. And I think you can get a lot of success that way.
Definitely. Yeah, I know they do that at Amazon. But how did you come up with that idea? Was that just from like your work experience or
I I didn't learn it anywhere. It just came from talking to customer. I mean, really, at the end of the day, we have a lot of great people, but um, at the end of the day, really the most important person is is our customer. And the customer, our customers are the ones that are paying us money. Our customers are the one that are that are bringing in our cash flow. So it's incredibly important to keep them happy. Um, and yeah, I mean, generally, we haven't had any, we've had a 0% churn in the space so far. We're still early, but we've had a 0% churn rate, which is incredibly rare, especially in our industry, especially since we're month to month. Um, our customers just like us, and we talk to them, and we work with them, we learn about their issues, we learn about what kind of problems they're trying to solve, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think it's really common sense, keep your customers happy. And then I think what's really interesting, and what we're starting to see is, we've spent $0 on marketing, by the way. um, our customers are referring us to other companies, to other potential customers, and we aren't even asking them to do that in some cases. So yeah, just keep your customers happy, and it'll work out. Yeah.
I really like that you said you spent $0 on marketing because I think a great product really does sell itself. In terms of so in terms of like customer consideration, like what factors or like are you looking into does the design of the UI like how much of a role does that play versus I guess since yours is a more technical product, is it more about the actual functionality of the service?
Oh no, UI is huge. I think a lot of companies kind of underweigh the importance of having a good user experience and a good user interface. And it's good to be a technical product, but you need to be a usable product as well. And uh, yeah, we actually invested a lot in the user experience. We brought in a top user experience consultant, a very well-known consultant to come in and kind of help us with our user experience. And it's from day one, it's been incredibly important to really deliver a very technical product, but deliver a very usable product. Um, so really, our dashboard, if you look at our dashboard, it's in terms of savings, it's very technical. The recommendations we make are very technical, but it's almost like TurboTax, where we show you the recommendations that we've made, and then we do all the heavy lifting on the back end, and then all you need to do is click on okay, get savings, and we handle everything on the back end for you. And it's a lot of heavy lifting, but I think kind of merging those two together is, I mean, by merging those two together, you'll get something, I think, pretty incredible. And that's exactly what we've done.
For sure. So other than like saving people money and jobs potentially, one of the things you're most excited about usage, maybe over the next few years?
Um, you know, yeah, I mean, look, I I think that a lot of companies are overpaying for AWS, and a lot of companies are, and they're very significantly overpaying. By the way, sometimes you can, on average, companies can overspend between 40 to 60% on AWS. Um, and companies who have millions of dollars per year in spend, um, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that they're pretty much handing over to AWS for really no, like, they're handing this money over, and they actually don't need to. And I think that's kind of, I mean, that's not great. And I think that that's money that could have been reinvested into the business. That's money that could have been six, seven, eight, maybe a dozen jobs. So just the idea that we can help create, help companies create jobs, help companies retain employees, that's incredibly exciting to me. um, and just the idea that we can help companies save money and save employees and get new employees, and really, instead of paying Amazon all this money, they can really reinvest it into their business, and focus on on actually delivering a product for their customers rather than paying AWS.
So has Amazon responded to this service at all yet, or what do you think they might respond to it in the future when it gets larger, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, they might respond in the future. I mean, at the end of the day, um, we are helping companies save money, but we're not moving them off of AWS. So AWS is, our mission isn't to move companies off of AWS. Our mission is to kind of help companies optimize the way they spend money on AWS. Um, so kind of, if I use that, prior to 1880s kind of land analogy, right? We're not, we're not taking, we're not taking money away from landlords and people who own all this land. We're not taking their business away. If anything, we're actually helping them by, kind of really rooting them into the space, into AWS. And I mean, just using that analogy, if you have a one-story building spread over four parcels of land, that's very, it's very easy to move off of that land and just destroy the building. If you have a high rise over one parcel of land, instead of four, it's very, very difficult to move off of AWS. So I think there's a benefit for both sides, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. So do you think that by having people spend less money on AWS, potentially they could invest that money, grow their business, and eventually spend even more, right? I
Yeah,
think that's the
exactly.
way Amazon could see it too.
Yeah, I don't think we're a direct threat to Amazon, and that's not what we're trying to do. But I think there is a kind of a balancing act that needs to happen now, where companies are overspending by a lot, and we just we need to step in and we need to build these skyscrapers and high rises, so to speak, in order to kind of make it more fair for both sides.
For sure. Why did you come up with that analogy, by the way? Is it because of living in New York or something else?
Yeah, it might be New York. It's just it's I've explained this idea probably over 100 times to 100 different people, and I think over time, I started with a very technical explanation of what it is, and I think a technical explanation doesn't really do what Usage.ai is trying to do any justice. So I think just kind of like a high level like vision of what usage is doing, and because I think cloud is really our modern day land. Cloud is incredibly valuable in the same way land was incredibly valuable back in, really prior to the 1880s, and especially in the 1880s. Um, so yeah, I think we're effectively kind of repeating ourselves. We're repeating something that happened in history, but instead of land, it's cloud space. Yeah.
Yeah. I think stories and analogies like that are a great way to sell things. Um, yeah, it looks like we're getting to the end of our time. Do you have any closing statements you'd like to make?
Um, I don't have any closing statements. Although, thanks for taking the time. This was, no, a really great interview. I like the questions you asked. Really great questions. And Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on, Kaveh. If you want to come on again, let me know. We can definitely arrange it.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, take care.